Okay, what you're going to learn in this tutorial is when the player walks towards an object like the box, the camera is going to zoom in, and then when the player walks away from the box, the camera is going to zoom out. Hi, this is Ali Arango of Game Visuals as well as LittleGuyCGI.com. Today I want to show you something that I think is very cool, which is I want to show you how to do an interactive camera zoom in Gdevelop 5. So let's get started. Okay, most of the time when I start up these tutorials, I like to start from just a regular blank Gdevelop startup screen. Today we're going to start with a little work done so far. So what we have here is we have a player character imported. In the description, I'll put a link so you can get to the files to set up this character. But this character is already set up where the character has a platform animation as well as the animation frames are set up. I made this ground in Piskel, the built-in graphic editor in Gdevelop, and then I put a platform behavior on this. Other than that, we're ready to go as far as setting up for our interactive camera zoom. If you do not know how to set up the character movement as well as the animation, this is actually the work that I did for the water tutorial. So if you look at the beginning of that tutorial, that'll show you how to get to this starting point right here. Okay, as far as how I learned how to do this technique right here that I'm about to show you, as well as a bunch of the other things that I've learned how to do as far as Gdevelop, I want to say thanks to the guys on the Gdevelop 5 Discord channel, as well as on the Gdevelop 5 Reddit channel. Typically, I'll look at these guys' work. I'll look at how they answer people. Sometimes I'll go to different YouTube channels, and then I'll see how other people figured out how to put these things together. And then I come to this channel and basically show you my version of how I do it. But I want to say thanks to them for teaching me how to do these things in the first place. Okay, as far as what we need to add to this scene to make this technique work, we really only need one graphic. So what we're going to do is go to the right. We're going to go to this plus symbol here. We're going to click that. We're going to go to sprite. We're going to left click on that. We're going to change the name of this to box. Then we're going to go to this plus to the right here. Once we click that, we have these other options. We want to click edit with Piskel. So we're going to left click there. Once we did that, the Piskel editor opens up. This is very cool. This is a built-in editor inside of Gdevelop. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click on this color here. I'm going to make this box an orangish color. So I'm just left clicking and dragging here. Now I'm going to click on this paint bucket. Click here to fill that with an orange color, and just by using that paint bucket, that's how I did that. I'm going to change the name of this graphic that I'm making to box. You don't have to change this name. You can use this as it is. It'll be the same. I'm just choosing to change the name to box. So now I'm going to click save. So then with that done, I don't need to add any behaviors or anything. I'm just going to click apply. And then now we can see here's our box graphic right here. I'm going to left click on that box graphic, and then I'm going to left click and drag this box graphic out. I'm going to put it right here. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to click on our player character. We're going to move the player character back some. I'm going to click the preview button so you can see what we have so far. So what we have is the player character has movement on it. The player character can jump. And what we want to happen is we want, when the player character gets close enough to this box for the camera to automatically zoom in, then when the player character gets far enough away from the box for the camera to automatically zoom out. Also, currently, the player character does not have the camera tracking the player character, so we want to do that as well. Okay, so since we have our graphic elements set up, let's set up our programming. So we're going to click here. And what we have here is this is the programming for the player to move around as well as jumping. If I click there, you can see that. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in what we need to set up having this camera interactively zoom in and zoom out. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to add an action so that the camera centers on the player. So in Gdevelop, the way things work is by conditions as well as actions. Conditions say when something happens, and then actions say what to happen. If you want something to happen all the time rather than waiting for something to happen, you just leave the condition blank and then you add an action in. So that's the case as far as having the camera center on the player. So we're going to click Add Action. We're going to go to Layers and Cameras. And then we're going to go to center the camera on an object. We're going to left click here. We're then going to select the player. And then the rest of the settings there are fine. So we're going to click OK. So with that set up, we're going to click play. So now as our player character moves, you can see that the camera is tracking our player character, which is good because that's what we want. So I'm just going to click here to come out of that preview window. Okay, now what we're going to do is in the same event. So this is an event right here. This will be one event. This will be another event. This will be another event. So we're going to have two actions in the one event. So what we want to do here is we're going to click Add Action. We're going to go to Layers and Cameras. Then we're going to scroll down to where we see Change Camera Zoom. We're going to left click there. Now we see this right here. And what we want here is we want to put in a variable to control this camera zoom. So we're going to click here. We're going to go to variables. And then we're going to select value of scene variables. So we're going to click here. And I already had zoom here when I was practicing for this tutorial. We'll make it another variable just so you can see. So we'll name this one zoom camera. So then with that done, with just that word typed in, zoom camera, we'll click done. The rest of these settings are fine. So now we'll click OK. Okay, we're going to need another 3 events to have this work. So I'm going to click here. I clicked here so I have this blue line going over the condition as well as the action. And then with that done, I'm going to go to this button here. I'm then going to click Add a New Empty Event. So now we have these spaces for all of the different events that we need. So now what we want to do is we're going to go to Add Condition. And then we want to look for Scene. Then we're going to select at the beginning of the scene. So we're going to left click there and then leave these settings how they are and then click OK. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go to Add Action. What we want to look for is variables. So we're going to click Variables right here. So we're going to left click on Variables. Then we're going to go to Value of a Scene Variable. We're going to left click there. And then for this variable, what we want is zoom camera. So then we're going to go to, for this, we want equals, and then we want the setting to be 1. Then we're going to click OK. Okay, so what's going on here is at the beginning of the scene, Gdevelop is going to set the zoom camera variable to be equal to 1. So what we want to do now is we want to click Add Condition. We want to go to Common Conditions for All, select Position, and then we want to select the distance between 2 objects. So we're going to left click here. For the first object, we're going to choose Player. For the second object, we're going to choose Box. For the distance, we're going to put 200. And for this, where we see this, it says compare the distance between 2 objects. If the condition is inverted, only objects that have a distance greater than specified to any other object will be picked. So we want to invert this condition. So we're going to click OK. Now this is going to control how things work as far as zooming out. So what we want to do here for the action is we're going to click Add Action. We're going to go to Variables. We're going to go to Value of a Scene Variable. We're going to click Zoom Camera. For this, what we want is we want this to be minus. So we're going to select Subtract. And then for this setting here, we're going to put in 0.01. Then we're going to click OK. Okay, so for these for this next event, we're going to need the same things here, just change slightly. So what we can do is we're going to left click here, right click, select copy. We're going to click here, and then right over this add condition, we're going to right click and select paste. We're going to do the same for this. We're going to left click here, right click, then select copy. Then right over this add condition here, or add, not condition, I clicked here. Now we're going to click, while hovering over this add action, we're going to right click and select paste. The reason why we did this is we just need to change the settings here. This is actually going to stay the same. We just need to change this so this is not inverted. So we're going to double click here and then click here so that this setting isn't inverted. We're then going to click OK. And then for this setting here, we want this to be plus instead of subtract. So we're going to click here, select Add, and then click OK. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go to this event right here. We're going to click Add Condition. Then we're going to go to Variables. We're going to select the value of a scene variable. For the variable, we're going to put in here Zoom Camera. Then we're going to click here. For the sign of the test, what we want this to be is greater than or equal to. So we're going to left click here. We're then going to, for the setting here, we're going to change this to 0.7. We're then going to click OK. Okay, so we need this setup here, right here as well. So we're going to right click here, select copy. We're going to left click here. Then we're going to hover over this condition and then right click and select paste. So what we need here is we're going to double click here. And the only reason we copy and paste is just to make things quicker. This needs to be set to less than or equal to. So we're going to click that. And then for this setting, what we need is to change this to 2. So then we're going to click OK. Okay, so with all that set up, let's click the preview button to see if this works. So when we walk up to the box, you can see the camera zooms in. And then when we walk away from the box, the camera zooms out. So very good. This is very cool. Okay, so as long as you have these settings, you have what you need to have your camera zoom in and out. What I wanted to do was tell you about what you can do with these settings and basically what happens when you change these settings. So this controls how far you zoom out. This controls how far you zoom in. These right here control the speed that you zoom in and out. So depending on what you want to do, by knowing what these different things do, you can control how far your camera zooms in. For instance, suppose we want the camera to zoom extremely close into our character and the object that the character is walking towards. I'm going to click the preview button just so you can have it back in your head how how close we zoom in. So now with our character this close, our character takes up a decent amount of the screen. Suppose we want the camera to zoom really close into our character. I'm going to zoom back just so you can see what's going on here. So suppose we want the character to pretty much almost fill up the frame of the character. What we can do is we can change this to 4. So I'm going to click here, change this to 4. So I changed this setting to double, right? So what should happen is now when we walk up, to the box, we should have, the camera should zoom in to the point where our character is almost taking up the whole frame of the character. So let's click the preview button. So now as we walk over, you can see that our character takes up a lot more space. If you took that setting up even higher, the camera would zoom even further in. Now, one other thing I'm going to show you is when our character zooms out, and you can see there's the camera zooming out. Now I'm going to walk over again. See how the camera zooms in? So I like, it's a nice smooth zoom. However, the camera is moving a little slow to zoom in for us zooming into this size. So I'm going to click here. Let me zoom out. Let get you so you can see the zoom out. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave the zoom out setting the same. I'm going to click here. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to set things up so that our camera, when it goes to zoom in, it's going to zoom in faster, since this setting is set so that the player character takes up a lot more of the frame of the camera. So what we're going to do is just click here. We're going to change this to 0.04. So previously this was 0.01. We just changed this to 0.04. So now when we click the preview button, what should happen is when we walk towards our box and zoom in, you can see the zoom is a lot faster. Now because we didn't change the other setting, our zoom out is still the same speed that it was before. So if we click here, like when I click that X to close, if we change this to 0.04, and then I click the preview button, now when we walk to zoom in, we zoom in very quickly. Then we walk to zoom out, we also zoom out very quickly. Okay, so suppose we want the game to start off and we want the start off camera to be zoomed out further. We'll click here and we'll change this setting to 0.4. So then with that done, we'll click the preview button. So now you can see that our camera is further out now. So then when we go closer, our camera zooms very close in. And then the camera zooms out again. Okay, so if we want the camera to zoom in slower, as well as, I think that the slower speed makes things appear to zoom in smoother, we'll change this back to 0.01. We'll change this also to 0.01. So now we'll click the preview button. So now you see we have a smoother zoom in now. And one of the nice things about this this zoom here is you could fill areas right here with a lot of different things for the player to do. And then if you need the player to do something where it's more useful to see more of the player, you can just have the camera zoom in. Okay, the settings that I like are, I like for this to be set for 1. I like for this to be set for 2. So I just click the preview button, just clicking this button here to maximize the screen. So here we have this area around, however we can see the character very clearly. And then if we want to have just a more detailed look at the character, we zoom in, and then when we walk away, we zoom out. Okay guys, that's it for the tutorial. For all of those of you out there who like the videos on this channel and reshare them, thank you very much. And for those of you who are new to this channel, if you like the videos on this channel, you would like to see more, please subscribe and thank you for viewing.